Graham Neely stood outside the coffee shop, blending into the early morning shadows like just another stranger passing through. Dressed in a black hoodie and worn jeans, a plastic water bottle clutched in one hand, he could have been anyone. Certainly not the man who owned every one of the 16 stores. His beard was fuller than usual, now peppered with silver, and his hair, once neatly combed in corporate headshots, was tucked beneath a faded baseball cap that had seen better days. In that moment, Graham wasn't the CEO. He was just Greg, the new guy. As he stepped through the glass doors, the familiar aroma of espresso and fresh pastries hit him like a nostalgic wave. The place was alive, buzzing with early risers in gym gear and dry-cleaned blazers. Store number 9 in Southgate was nestled between a 24-hour fitness center and a tired-looking dry cleaner. Outwardly, it looked like the others. But Graham knew better. This location had been haunting his reports for months. High turnover, poor reviews, unresolved complaints. No one could give him a straight answer. Numbers told him something was broken, but they didn't tell him why. He had inherited the business 5 years ago when his father, a man both revered and feared in the industry, passed away unexpectedly. Since then, Graham had poured his soul into expanding the chain, modernizing operations, and opening new branches across state lines. But with each quarterly report and boardroom pitch, he felt himself drifting further from the heartbeat of what his father built. The coffee, the people, the pulse of community. So he made a decision most CEOs wouldn't dare. He went undercover. The barista behind the counter, a woman with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense stance, called out before he could fully enter. "Hey, you the new guy?" Graham nodded. "Yeah, name's Greg. Supposed to start today." She pulled off her gloves and offered a quick nod. "Vanessa, assistant manager. You'll be shadowing me till Brett gets in." Her curls were tied into a chaotic bun, and despite the fatigue behind her eyes, she moved with the efficiency of someone who ran the show when no one else would. She tossed him an apron and pointed to the back. "Clock in, register first, then drinks." The morning rush hit fast and merciless. Graham stumbled through orders, mistyped buttons, and misread drink sizes, but Vanessa kept him steady. "Breathe. You'll get it," she murmured, correcting him with quiet patience, even when the line grew long and a customer huffed impatiently. She never snapped. She anchored the chaos. When Brett finally showed up, he arrived like someone who'd never worked a day behind a counter. Tall, lean, polo-shirted, mirrored sunglasses still on indoors, sipping a smoothie as if he owned the place. Except, of course, he didn't. He glanced at Graham briefly. "You the new kid?" "Yeah, Greg, no handshake, no welcome, just a shrug." "Cool, don't get in anyone's way." Then, without another word, he turned to Vanessa. "I'll be in the office. Let me know if someone dies or whatever." And with that, he disappeared. Graham blinked. That was it. That was the leadership at the worst-performing store in his chain. Later that day, while rinsing pitchers behind the bar, a woman walked in with a service dog. Middle-aged, polite, she placed her order softly. Before Graham could even greet her, Brett emerged from the back, cutting across the floor like a storm front. "Sorry, no dogs allowed." The woman pointed to the clearly marked vest. "He's a service animal. Federal law." Brett didn't even flinch. "Yeah, I've heard it all before. Take it to go." Graham froze, anger bubbling beneath his calm exterior. But before he could speak, Vanessa stepped in, calm but firm. "Brett, she's right. He's marked. We can't turn her away." A long pause. Brett's jaw tightened. "Fine, sit in the corner. Just don't make a mess." The woman quietly took a seat, eyes scanning the room as if waiting for judgment. Graham felt a deep pang of something old. Shame, maybe, or fury. In the break room later, Graham sat across from Vanessa, unwrapping a granola bar with more care than necessary. "Does that kind of thing happen often?" he asked. Her pause was louder than words. "Brett's not great. But he's the manager. You ever think of leaving? All the time, but I can't. Not yet. I'm saving up. I want to go back to school. Maybe open a cafe one day. Something small. Honest. Her eyes lit up for a brief second, then dimmed again. Graham took a breath. He saw her. Really saw her. There was another barista, Margot. Older, quiet, with eyes that had seen more than they let on. She closed most nights. Always picked up extra tasks no one asked her to do. Graham noticed the way she limped slightly by the end of her shift, but never complained. She just worked. She carried more than her weight without ever seeking thanks. After 2 grueling days, Graham was starting to learn the rhythm of the store, the hum of the espresso machine, the uneven beat of customer flow, the silent tension hanging like a fog. Brett remained a ghost in a pressed shirt, barking orders without lifting a finger, leaving early, arriving late. But it was Vanessa and Margot who kept the place standing, and as Graham watched from the shadows of his false name and borrowed apron, he began to realize this wasn't just a broken store. It was a mirror of everything he'd missed and everything he still had the power to change. What shattered Graham's heart most wasn't the chaos of the rush or the silence of mistreatment. It was what happened Friday night. As the last customers filtered out and the lights dimmed into the soft gold of closing time, the team gathered by the register like clockwork. Vanessa reached beneath the counter and pulled out a small locked metal box. Her voice carried a tired sort of routine. Tip count. They all leaned in as she clicked open the lid, the sound sharp in the quiet store. The bills were worn, but plentiful. About $300, Vanessa smiled, a flicker of relief washing over her expression. For a moment, the room felt like a team again, like something had been earned. But just as she began to divide the tips, Brett appeared. He swaggered over like the scene had been set for him. "I'll take that," he said flatly. Vanessa's hand paused mid-reach. "We usually split it Friday night," she said, careful, measured. "Yeah, well, I'm handling it this week," Brett snapped, snatching the box off the counter with a smugness that scraped against every nerve in the room. Margot's voice, calm but heavy, broke the silence. "He did the same thing last week. No one saw a dime." Graham felt his throat tighten. His fingers, still wrapped around a damp cloth, froze mid-wipe. The moment hit him like a punch to the ribs. He couldn't speak, not yet, but the silence inside him wasn't empty. It was pulsing with anger. He didn't sleep much that night. By dawn, Graham was back, but this time, he wasn't Greg. In a crisp navy button-down and dark slacks, his corporate badge clipped to his chest, he parked at the far end of the lot and watched as the first lights flickered on. The early crew moved with ritual precision, unlocking doors, prepping the espresso bar, switching on the pastry warmers. The store was waking up, but so was the truth. Vanessa spotted him first. Her eyes widened, brows lifting as she stepped out from behind the case. "Can I help you?" He nodded calmly. "Graham Neely. I own the company." Her expression froze, then recalibrated. "You're the... Oh, okay. Would you like to speak with someone? Brett should be in by 8. "I'm speaking with you," Graham said gently. "Let's sit for a minute." He followed her to a small table by the window. The rest of the team moved around with cautious glances, pretending not to notice, but every conversation was a whisper now. Graham leaned in, voice low and steady. "I've been working here the last 3 days." As Vanessa leaned back. "That was you?" He nodded. "I needed to see what the reports weren't telling me. No filters, just the truth." Her eyes flicked toward the counter, where Margot was quietly setting up the drip station. "So, you saw everything?" "I did," he said. "And I need you to walk me through what's been happening. I'm not here to punish anyone who's been doing their job. I'm here to fix what's broken." There was only a beat of hesitation before Vanessa spoke. The truth had been weighing on her far too long to hold it back now. "It's not just the tips. Brett's barely here. When he is, he doesn't help, just pushes everything onto the rest of us, usually me." Or Margot? She paused, unsure. Go on, Graham encouraged gently. She exhaled. He cuts hours for people who actually work, brings in new hires, then ghosts their training. Last month, a girl quit mid-shift. He yelled at her in front of customers, and it wasn't even her mistake. Have you reported any of this? Graham asked. I tried, once. HR said they'd look into it, but nothing happened. After that, I stopped. I figured no one up top was really watching. But now, someone was. Graham nodded. Thank you. I'll talk to Margot next. Vanessa stood slowly, her posture still carrying the weight of months of exhaustion. I'll be on bar, if you need anything. Margot joined him moments later, drying her hands on a towel. Her gaze was steady. I know who you are now, she said. I didn't expect to be working beside you yesterday, but I appreciated your help more than you know, Graham said. Can I ask how long you've been with us? Almost 6 years, 3 at this store. And why stay if it's been this hard? She shrugged softly. I like the work, the people, and for a long time, I thought maybe, if I held on long enough, things would change. She looked away. But lately, it's harder to believe that. Graham leaned forward. Tell me about the tips. Margot's voice lowered, but not out of fear, out of fatigue. We used to split them every Friday. Vanessa kept it fair. But for the past 3 weeks, Brett's taken the box. Said he'd handle it later, but no one saw a cent. I asked once. He told me to mind my business. Graham's jaw set, but his voice stayed calm. Did anyone else witness this? Everyone on shift, but no one wants to lose hours. People are scared. Thank you, Margot, he said. I'm going to fix this. Just after 8, Brett strolled in with a breakfast bag in hand, sunglasses on despite the dim light. He didn't see Graham at first, just tossed his keys on the counter and headed for the office. Graham followed without a word. Brett turned. Can I help? He stopped. You're the owner. Right, Graham said. And you've been stealing from your staff. I told them I'd distribute it later. 3 weeks in a row? They exaggerate. I've been running this store. You haven't run anything. Graham cut in. You show up late, leave early, you belittle customers. You dump your responsibilities on people making a fraction of your salary. You're done, effective immediately. Gather your things. You can't just... I can, and I did. Graham stepped out of the office. The team stood frozen in the café, every eye turned toward him. Brett is no longer with the company. He won't be returning. A long silence. Then Vanessa stepped forward, her voice unsure. What happens now? I'll be here, Graham said. A new temporary manager is arriving from another store, and we'll start interviews for a permanent one right away. He reached into his coat and handed an envelope to Margot. That's a check for the missing tip money. Divide it fairly. If it's short, tell me. We'll make it right. Vanessa looked at him, something fragile flickering in her expression. Can I ask why? Why now? Graham glanced around. The tired counters, the worn floors, the hopeful people. Because something didn't add up, and I got tired of waiting for someone else to figure it out. He turned to the others. I know trust takes time to rebuild, but I'm here to earn it, starting today. He stayed the rest of the shift, not observing from the sidelines, working, restocking syrups, wiping down counters, grinding beans, letting others take the lead. For the first time all week, the store didn't feel heavy. That night, as they cleaned up, Vanessa approached him near the sink. You're really staying a few weeks? I am, Graham said, and I'll keep checking in, even after. She nodded slowly. We've got a long way to go. I know, he said, but we'll get there, together. Monday arrived with a cautious kind of quiet. The sounds of milk steamers and coffee grinders were the same, but the air had shifted. The fear was gone. The tension was softer now, tentative hope replacing dread. And when Graham stepped behind the counter next to Vanessa, not as Greg, not as a stranger, but as the man who finally showed up, everything began to change. As Graham refilled the whipped cream canister behind the bar, he glanced over at Vanessa, who was staring thoughtfully at the shift sheet near the register. "How's everyone holding up?" he asked casually, but the question carried more weight than it seemed. She didn't look up. "I think people are still waiting for the catch," she said quietly, "like this is temporary. Like maybe someone new's gonna show up next week and it all goes back to how it was." "I get that," Graham replied, his voice soft. "I'd be wary too, but I'm not interested in temporary fixes. Not anymore." Around the corner, a new presence stepped into the scene. Maya, a shift lead from Store 4. She'd been loaned to Store 9 for the next 6 weeks, and Graham had personally chosen her for a reason. She ran a tight but fair shift, known across the district for her integrity and calm in chaos. She wasn't flashy. She was solid. By mid-morning, Maya had already made her mark. She posted a revised cleaning rotation, reorganized the cluttered dry storage Brett had left in shambles, and pulled Vanessa aside to talk through scheduling issues. "I'm not here to micromanage," Maya told her, tone direct but kind. "But I need to know where the holes are so I can help you fill them." Vanessa hesitated. "We're still short 2 people in the evenings. Margot's been pulling doubles, but it's too much." "Then we open hiring again," Maya said, no hesitation. No shortcuts. No friends of friends who flake after 2 shifts. I'll screen every single applicant myself. Around noon, Graham found Margot near the pastry case, stocking muffins slowly, her left leg slightly stiff. "You're not working another double, are you?" he asked. "Nope," she said, without looking up. "Vanessa made me promise. Said if I didn't leave on time, she'd call my daughter." Graham smiled. "Good. It's our turn to carry some of the weight now." But Margot still looked uncertain. Her eyes drifted toward the front of the counter, where an older woman stood hesitantly, squinting up at the menu. "I've seen her before," Margot said softly. "She always lingers, then walks out." Graham made his way over. "Good morning," he said warmly. "Oh, I'm just looking," the woman said quickly. "I didn't mean to hold up the line." "There's no line," he said gently. "Take your time." She studied the board again. "Is the oatmeal still $5.75? I thought it used to be less." "It went up last quarter," Graham admitted. "But we're testing a breakfast discount this week. Makes it $3.50. "I didn't see a sign." "You didn't miss it," he smiled. "We haven't printed them yet." She hesitated, then slowly pulled some coins from a cloth tote bag. Graham gently gestured toward the register. "I'll ring it in. You grab a seat. I'll bring it over." Margot watched from the bar, her expression unreadable, but her eyes softened just a little. That afternoon, a delivery arrived. Maya signed for it, then frowned as she inspected the boxes. "This isn't right," she murmured. "We didn't order 3 flats of single-origin espresso. This stuff's premium." Graham stepped over. "Check the invoice." Maya unfolded the packing slip. "It's billed to us, but not our order. Looks like Brett never canceled his auto orders. And he was stocking expensive beans we don't even feature." "Maybe he was selling them out the back," Maya muttered under her breath. Graham's brow furrowed. "We'll audit the month's deliveries. If there's a pattern, it goes to legal." By closing, the team looked spent. Vanessa leaned against the sink, drying her hands. "Feels like we ran a marathon," she said, half laughing. "You did," Graham replied. "But it's different when the exhaustion isn't laced with fear." Still tired, though. Across the café, Maya was reviewing the new end-of-day checklist when she motioned Graham over. "We've got a problem," she said quietly. "Jordan, the kid Brett hired last month. He never clocked in for shifts, but his name's on the tip sheet and he appeared on last week's payroll log." "He didn't work?" Graham asked, tone sharp. "Nope. Vanessa said he ghosted 3 shifts, but someone kept clocking him in. Looks like Brett was punching him in." Graham's hands clenched. "Send me the logs. I'll forward them to compliance first thing." The next morning, Graham arrived before opening and left 2 paper bags on the break room table. Breakfast sandwiches, fruit, and coffee from another branch. A small gesture, but meaningful. Vanessa was the first to arrive. She blinked at the bags. This for us? You've earned it. She grabbed a sandwich, but paused. Not that I'm complaining, but I've never worked a job where someone at the top does this. You shouldn't have to, Graham said. But I'm here to show you I mean what I say. Later that day, in the back office, Graham made a quiet call. Yes, I have the logs. No, it's not a misunderstanding. It's payroll fraud. Please freeze his final check. When he stepped back out, Vanessa was onboarding a new hire. Margot was teaching a younger barista to clean the steam wand, and Maya was deep in the shift notes. The store still bore the scars, chipped paint, scuffed tiles, but it pulsed with a different energy. Not polished, but purposeful. While refilling napkins, a man in a suit approached. Are you the owner? I am. I come here weekly, the man said. This place, it feels different. People smile now. They look you in the eye. That matters. It matters to us too, Graham said. At week's end, the team gathered after closing. Maya stood in front of the counter, clipboard in hand. We've got 2 new hires starting. We're still tight, but I've adjusted the schedule, no doubles. If hours are short, they get spread evenly. Fairness is non-negotiable. She looked around. If there are concerns, bring them to me, not rumors, real talk. Margot raised her hand. Are we still rotating the register, or can I stay on prep? We'll rotate for training, Maya said. But yes, you're strongest at prep. That's yours. Graham stepped forward, envelope in hand. I want to close this week with something right. This isn't a tip pool, it's a thank you, a performance bonus, evenly split. He handed it to Vanessa, who opened it slowly. Her eyes widened, but she said nothing. Just passed it to Margot. Graham didn't wait for applause. He just started wiping down the counter again. That night, as the chairs went up and lights dimmed, Graham lingered with Maya. You pulled them together fast. They were already together, she said. They just needed the wreckage cleared. He looked around the quiet space. We build from here. Maya crossed her arms. What happens when you leave? I keep showing up. No more suits, no warning, real check-ins, every store, every month. You really think that'll change anything long-term? He paused. I think it's the only thing that will. The following Tuesday, just after opening, Graham walked into Store 9. The air outside was cool, the street quiet. Inside, the espresso machine hissed steadily. Regulars were sipping their usuals. The rhythm had returned. Maya reviewed a manifest at the back. Vanessa was walking a new hire through handoff protocol. The work hadn't gotten easier, but it felt lighter. Behind the bar, Graham tied on an apron and joined Margot at the prep station. Morning, he said. Without looking up, she muttered, You're persistent. I've been called worse. She slid a tray onto the rack and turned. You're not staying forever. No, he said. But I'm not disappearing either. They stocked lids and sleeves in silence until she paused, wincing slightly. Her left hand flexed involuntarily. You okay? Arthritis. Some mornings it locks up. I push through. You shouldn't have to do that alone. I'm not asking for special treatment. You're not getting special treatment, Graham said. You're getting respect. 3 days a week. Same hours. Reduced preparation. We'll cover physical therapy. Deal? Margot's mouth twitched into the ghost of a smile. We'll see if you're still this generous when budget season hits. I'll be here for that too, he said. And this time, he meant it. She paused for a beat, staring at Graham as if waiting for the punchline. That's not policy, she finally said. It is now. Vanessa didn't respond, but something shifted. Her shoulders dropped just slightly, like a tension she didn't know she was holding had been released. There was no celebration, no thank you. But in that silence, a kind of trust was starting to grow. Slow, cautious, but real. By midday, the cafe was humming. The new rhythm wasn't perfect, but it had pulse. Graham moved behind the register where Maya was training Illy, Jordan's replacement, a soft-spoken college student who had previously worked early morning shifts at his campus bakery. Illy didn't move quickly, but he moved intentionally. Every task was done with care, his questions clear and thoughtful. Maya leaned toward Graham with a small nod. "He's sharp," she said. "Not fast yet, but he listens. He pays attention." Graham gave a small smile. "That's already more than we've had in a while." Vanessa walked by, gracefully sidestepping a customer with a stroller. "Do we have confirmation on the vendor meeting next week?" she asked. "Yep," Maya replied. "You and I are both on it." Graham turned, slightly surprised. "You're sending Vanessa to the vendor call?" "She's been managing inventory blind for 2 months," Maya said. "She knows more about our usage than anyone here." Vanessa gave a brief nod and moved on to restock the pastries, her expression unreadable, but her pace just a little more confident. Graham stepped outside for a moment. The sun had climbed higher, casting stark shadows across the pavement. Across the street, a city bus exhaled passengers. Some headed toward the gym, others toward the cafe. There was a rhythm now, not just in the store, but in the neighborhood, familiar, stable, a beat worth protecting. Back inside, Graham noticed a customer growing agitated at the register. A man in a construction vest was talking over Illy, who was trying his best to clarify the order. "I said iced, not hot," the man snapped. "Are you even listening?" Illy stepped back, flustered. Maya moved in without missing a step. "Sir, he's new. Let me fix that for you." "I've got a 10-minute break. I don't need a biology lesson," the man muttered. "We'll remake it right now," Maya said, her tone calm. "On the house." The man grunted and stepped aside, phone in hand. His gaze lingered on Maya, maybe out of shame, maybe confusion. "You did fine," she said quietly to Illy. "Not everyone walks in with their best self. Just don't let it stick." Later, when the corrected drink was ready, Graham handed it off himself. "You come in here often?" he asked, even-toned. "Most days." "Then I'll ask once. Keep it respectful. We run a public cafe, not a punching bag." The man nodded tightly and left. That afternoon, Graham called Maya and Vanessa into the back office. The fluorescent light above them buzzed faintly. The desk still bore the scars of Brett's disorganized tenure. Scattered notes, old invoices, half-stuck sticky tabs. But the mood was different now. "I've made a decision," Graham said, folding his hands on the desk. "I want both of you to run Store 9. They exchanged glances. Vanessa blinked. "Like co-managers?" "Maya's staying through the 6-week rebuild," Graham explained. "After that, she returns to her home store. But until then, I want her to mentor you through the transition, vendor meetings, staff management, full scheduling authority. Everything." Vanessa's jaw tensed. "Is this permanent?" "It is," he said. "If you accept." She didn't answer right away. Maya leaned in. "You're already doing half the job," she said. "Might as well get credit for all of it." Vanessa looked down, then slowly met Graham's gaze again. Her voice was steady. "I want it, but I want to do it right. I'm not going to fake it." "No one's asking you to," Graham said. "You've earned it, not just with hard work, but with the way you lift the people around you." Vanessa gave a single, resolute nod. "Then I'm in." Graham turned to Maya. "You good staying on through the transition?" "That was the plan," Maya said. "This store's worth it." By week's end, new signage arrived. Graham had designed it himself. Nothing flashy, just a clean modern panel behind the register that read, "Store 9, proudly run by our team." He didn't give a speech, just gathered the team, pointed to the wall and said, "That's not branding. That's a promise. If anything ever makes it feel untrue, I expect you to let me know." No one clapped, no one cheered, but the silence that followed felt solid. like a foundation finally settling into place. The next morning, Vanessa opened the store alone for the first time. She walked the floor, checked each machine, adjusted the lights, stocked the pastry case. Everything was familiar, but it felt newly hers. She moved with the weight of responsibility, but not fear. Margot arrived next. She passed behind the counter with a nod. "You good?" she asked. Vanessa gave a small smile. "Yeah, I think I am." By mid-afternoon, Graham came in one last time. No uniform, no clipboard. Just a coffee in hand and his jacket slung over his shoulder. He stood quietly near the condiment bar and watched. A drink was misrung. Someone forgot to restock lids, but it was working. And none of it required him to step in. Maya joined him at the front. "We're holding it without you." "I know," Graham said. "You still doing the drop-ins?" "Every month," he nodded. "No warning." "Good. They need it." Graham took his last sip, set the cup down, and turned to leave. As he reached the door, Vanessa's voice called out behind him, "Hey, Graham!" He turned. "Thanks for showing up." He nodded once. "Don't let me be the last one who does." Then he stepped out, the door swinging shut behind him as the hum of the café resumed. Steady, focused, and finally, fully theirs.